And good morning, Tim Hansen. Welcome to our Community Connect podcast. How are you getting on today?
Good, Rich. How are you today?
Yep, good. Hey, it's always good to connect, check in, see how things are going in the TEAMCP community and specifically yourself as well. How are you? What's been happening lately for you?
What's been happening with me? Well, I'm a little bit bung at the moment. My knee, I had an operation on my knee last week. So that one's been on the cards for a few months. I finally got the meniscus dealt to last week. So I've been off work last week and just been lots of couch time. So, got about a 6-week recovery time before I can go for another jog. So it's been a bit of a tricky time, and the weather's been awesome out here in Auckland the last week. I was just thinking, oh man, typical, isn't it? Beautiful weather, and I'm on the couch, mate. So
yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
Yep. But starting to feel a little bit better now. So it's been 5 days, I think, 5 or 6 days. So starting to get a bit more mobility in the knee. You know what this one's like, don't you? You've had a couple of knees done as well. So it's a bit of a process. So be patient. Got to be patient.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's good to be on this side of it, isn't it? Good to have that done. Obviously, it's been giving you a bit of jip for a while. And yeah, do know what it's like. It's not good when you say you've had a couple of both of these done, and I have. So yeah, who knows? You might be able to hopefully get running again, and it just means a bit more biking in the next little while. But yeah, good to be on this side of it and get that rehab done, get things strong again. But just take your time. And as you mentioned, it is a nice time of year to go biking, getting outside, doing some adventures and bits and pieces, isn't it? With the weather being pretty settled in New Zealand at this time of year.
Yep, totally. It's been really, really nice, and it looks like it's going to be nice for the sort of short term as well. So autumn is definitely here, and it's been pretty good, isn't it?
Absolutely. And speaking of autumn, I just need to say we're involved in the Run Akaroa event and managed to get called up into the starting lineup to do some MC work on that, which was super fun. Yeah, really good. It was quite funny. Last time, or other times I've done it, it's kind of been me solo Harry doing his thing, and it's always a little bit tricky to kind of get started. Once you're started, you're into it. High fives and things to be given out. But this time with Emily Bell, we were doing it as a bit of a team thing, which was so much more fun. Okay. Just having a bit of banter and some chats and things going on. But we started off with a Mexican wave. There was people lining up down the starting chute. I was like, I'm just going to go for a wander down there and see if we can get a Mexican wave going. It was took a little bit, but that was pretty fun to get underway.
Yeah, nice. What were the other sort of skills you picked up with sharing the role with her?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd picked up any skills, but there was definitely some pretty funny things going on. There was a few dress ups. I have to say a big shout out to the guy that forgot his shorts. He crossed the finish line in his jeans and his singlet. I was like, what's going on there? And it looked like he'd just been out the pub, like where we were stationed. The run finished out the back of the Grand Hotel in Akaroa, I think it was. So it looked like he'd been there and just decided, I'll go and do this run, full jeans. But it just turns out that he forgot his shorts, so he just went and did it anyway. That's just backbone material, isn't it?
Yeah, I was a bit of motivation there for you then. How good.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, one thing. Like with this podcast is all about sharing our stories, our people doing cool stuff. And there's lots of it's not hard to find people. There's always different things going on. We've got some pretty cool stories coming up for the next week or two. But I guess I also put a podcast out at the end of Run Akaroa, like back in the old days. It was a fair while ago now, days of the golden microphone, and word is the golden microphone might be on the way back again, which is another story. But it was all about sharing stories of people that are not the winners, people that are actually out there just doing it, which most of us are. Like majority of us are just trying to see if we can get across the finish line, achieve our goal. So really fun to put that podcast together specifically with Run Akaroa. But speaking of fast people and people do well, Frances Redmond, who won the marathon for the women, she was actually also third overall. Pretty epic run, over 1,000+ vertical meters, doing that in like 3 hours and 9 minutes.
Wow.
But it was really cool to see her run down the finishing chute, and there was a mum and a couple of kids sort of finishing in front of her, and she just jogged in, walked in, sort of thing, letting them have their moment in the sun. Like you do see a lot of elites like busting through the finishing chute at the last second kind of thing. So yeah, that was a cool thing from her, and a bit of a nice professional type of a moment to share. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. And just thinking that these days people are running sub 2 hour marathons, aren't they?
Apparently. That's like, is that 2:36 per K? Is that what it is? It's something like that, isn't it?
I feel sorry for the guy who did a sub 2 hour marathon and still didn't win.
Still got second, yeah.
Still second. Anyway.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. Seconds are right. I've had a few bridesmaids dressed in my time, but maybe I need to reach out to him.
Yeah, no, he's done well there, eh? No, it's pretty inspirational. And talking about cool stuff, May meters, that's tracking pretty well, isn't it?
Isn't it? It's cool, eh? Like, I mean, the key thing with May meters, it's quite fun to have a bit of a leaderboard and see how I'm tracking, but it's quite cool just from can I put a month of consistency together being the challenge, not overcooking it, being able to kind of just stay and keep clicking away, and it just draws you to go up the hill another time. Like normally, like you never would. And who was I talking to the other day? Somebody, and we were just laughing at the madness of it all. Like the only reason in the old days I'd ever ride up a hill was so that I could ride down. Like, exactly. Why would you ride uphill? But then, like these days with Zwift, it's even worse, isn't it? Because you're on the bike, suffering in your garage or whatever, and then once you get to the top, you just get off and then walk inside, sweaty and like a obliterated mess.
Yeah, but the buy-in, especially the last couple of years, like last year was crazy, and this year I'm seeing some pretty horrendous numbers coming through as well. So there's lots of buy-in there. So looking forward to seeing the end result in what will be about 10 days away or less than now.
That's right. One thing we haven't organised was an Everest challenge, an Everest day. Right. So often we've done that of like a few people wanting to take on doing the full Everest. When did Hillary climb Everest? Was it the 29th of May, something like that? I feel like it was deep in the month anyway. Not sure offhand. But anyway, so we've often done it on that day. We've got the 30th and 31st are Saturday and Sunday. So we'll finish on the line of next weekend. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. So maybe we sort of get together. But I think there's a bunch of people out there that are sort of high up in the leaderboard and just hoping people don't do that, because obviously that's cat amongst the pigeons stuff, and people can come from nowhere to put some big numbers up at the last minute, can't they?
Yeah, and people need to remember it's an honesty thing as well, right? You can't sort of bank your numbers and then all of a sudden download everything, can't you? You've got to make sure they're up to date. And there's a bit of that. That's lessons learnt from the seasons past that can happen, isn't it? That's
right. For me, Strava doesn't take the vertical meters through. I've got to manually upload them. There was a little bit of, what's this guy doing? Is he holding on to them? But no, it was just because I basically got busy and had to cook tea. But I did have a message from a certain person. I won't know names, but he was saying so that sort of cuts the numbers down. Is heading overseas, and he was just looking to keep his watch on while the plane took off, just to kind of roll things up a little bit. So that's interesting as well, isn't it?
That is interesting.
I don't mind that. I don't mind the banter of that. Just stir the pot a little bit.
Exactly. And talking about the Everest Day, I mean, I can't participate anymore because of my knee, but I think Coach Amanda last year did some pretty impressive stuff.
She got.
So she might be a good starter.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't she? If with an Everest, she'd be up beside me, which is dangerous. She's sort of said that, no, I need to just keep a lid on it because of keep her body in one piece. You could do a hand cycle. On Zwift, I see people doing hand cycles, Tim.
It's true. That's very true. And I have a two-story house, so I'm up and down all day, limping. Yep. So I might just have to I haven't put the watch on when I've been doing that. That's probably 10 meters every time.
10 meters it's more than what I get in Kiwi. So maybe there's meters to be had there that you're missing out on.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's still hope, mate. We might be able to put some more meters to my total. You never know. You never know.
That's right. But yeah, maybe it's an Everest day. Maybe we need to organise it for that weekend. Maybe it's the final day, the 31st. Do we sort that out? I don't know. That doesn't feels pretty ugly, doesn't it? But we'll just we'll see what the vibe is, see what the word on the street is, and we'll keep everyone posted.
Yeah, good. Sounds good. And talking about keeping people posted, mate, we've got Backroad is happening next year. Tell us about that and how we might be able to get involved with that one.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of stuff about Backroad 26, and we initially opened it up to those that have been before, just to say, do you want to come? And then there's spots available now to open out to the public, I guess, to everybody. So you don't have to be a TEAMCP part of our community. Get involved in our community by coming along to the Backroad 27. But I think the biggest negative to that whole trip is it's almost a year away. Like, I want to go and do it now. It looks awesome. So I'm pretty excited about that. It was a super cool trip with a cool group of people. And if you do look at the course and go, "Ooh, that's a bit bit big, especially the second day, like it is. It's a couple of thousand meters of climbing, over 100 Ks, but we've got a couple of vehicles as part of that. So all the climbing is like in 2 climbs, so through the Nevis Valley. So basically what our plan is, come along, get involved, and those vehicles will be there to kind of just uplift you up the hill if you're battling, and then you'll go again, rather than, we don't want people to be at the back suffering behind. We'd much rather get you up to the middle and towards the front, and then kind of keep on riding and then kind of be with everybody else. So I guess we've learned that, how that sort of is going to go, and how we sort of break into groups and make sure that we look after each other. So that's part of the TeamCP way, making sure that we challenge people to do what they want, but also to look after everybody so everybody can be successful as well.
Yeah, nice. So that sounds like it caters for all levels.
Yeah, if you can ride a bike, a gravel bike would be the better bike to ride. If you've got a mountain bike, that's completely fine. We had 7 or 8 people on mountain bikes out of the 25 or so this year, so completely fine. But the gravel bike just does roll a little bit better. So, but that's all details that we can figure out down the track.
Yeah, and have we got limited spaces, right? Like, how many spots have we got got available?
I think it's 30 of us in total. So I think we might have maybe, I don't know, 12 left, something like that-ish. Don't quote me on that, but something like that. So not a huge number of spots available, but yeah, we want to keep it small. We don't want it to be big and massive. We want to make sure we look after everybody. And we basically, one of my jobs has been to be able to ride with everybody and connect with everyone. So yeah, 30 is a maximum. I think there's about 10 to 12 spots left at the moment. So if that's something you're into, definitely reach out.
Yeah, and it's, correct me if I'm wrong, March.
March, yeah, that's right.
March,
yep. So end of March is the plan. So around the 20th, I think, is the date. So yeah, just check on our socials and things on our websites, all there, and go from there. Maybe we might see you there, Tim, since running can't be a thing as much.
Yeah, I've seen the course and it looks awesome. Like, it really does. So we'll see how we go. We'll see how we're positioned. But yeah, those spots that are getting sort of taken up and might need to be getting quick. We'll make
room for you. It'll be all good, Tim.
Would you? Oh, how good. Yeah, priority. I love
it. Yeah, absolutely. Nice. Well, you look after yourself. Great to catch up. All the best for the recovery and rehab. Just go up those stairs quietly. Take it easy on the downhill. And if everyone out there listening, we'll rip into our next bit of a chat with another one of our awesome TeamCP community.
Thanks, Rich.
Well done, Tim. Righto, we're here with David Manning today, who we're going to be talking to today. Recently completed his first ultra marathon, 50K ultra on the West Coast Wilderness Trail. Today we're going to talk to him about his run, his build-up, his pre-race meal the night before. We might have a bit of chat about as well. And he also recently walked the Kepler Track with his family, so we're going to find out about this, how the kids went, what they carried, and his tips for getting your crew into the outdoors and everybody enjoying the adventure along the way. David, how are you getting on today?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Rich. Good to be here.
Yeah, good job. Awesome. So what's that, 2 weekends ago now? That was your 50K ultra that you've completed?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago over in Greymouth. It was a great day.
Yep. Nice. And how the legs, how was the recovery?
Yeah, obviously the Sunday and the Monday were a little bit stiffer than normal, but they recovered pretty well by the Tuesday, Wednesday. I was able to start doing some spinning and getting back into it.
Good job. That's the story. Obviously, you've trained well, and we're not too broken afterwards. It's good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the training worked pretty well.
Yeah, you did do a good job of that, actually. So give us a bit of background before we get stuck deep into how the run went. Give us a bit of a background around what you've done before, and also the motivation for heading to the West Coast for this 50K ultra.
Yeah, absolutely. So, an interesting fact, I haven't actually really done any mini run races, pure running. Have done the Piglet, which is about 24K, is probably about the only other pure running race that I can think I've done before. So it was certainly a new challenge and something I hadn't done running. Most of my stuff has been more multi-sport, done the coast to coast in various forms for the last 3 or 4 years, and done some adventure races, the Kaikoura Adventure Race and things like that. So more multi-sport than actually just trail running. So it was a new experience, and 55K is obviously further than I would normally run. So it was a good challenge, and I was up for it.
Good job. It's a reasonably length bike ride, actually, 55k. So doing it on old Shanks's pony, running along, is a pretty good thing to try and shoot for. So it was just for the challenge to see if I could. Was that sort of the motivation behind it?
Yeah, it's also quite like having an event, sort of that late autumn. It helps keep your training and keep you fit heading into winter, and try to get that momentum through the winter months, which can be quite hard, particularly if you've done some events through earlier in the or later in the summer and earlier in the autumn. You can find you sort of lose some of that. So I quite like having an event sort of early winter to keep me going through there, and then come out into the spring rearing to go without too much of a winter coat.
Good job. How was the build-up? One of the key things with an ultra is actually just trying to remain injury-free. How did you go in your build-up leading into this?
Yeah, 100%. So being injury-free gives you a lot of confidence. And a few years ago, I did have quite a few. As soon as I started getting into my rhythm with any sort of running, I tended to pick up a number of injuries, and it sort of put me off running. I sort of actually tried to avoid doing too much running, thinking, I'll end up getting injured. But more recently, I think sort of dialed in my training, working with you, being more focused on my training and doing the right sessions and doing them well, has actually meant I've been injury free. I've been seeing those improvements, and just really focusing on what the training sessions are supposed to be doing has really helped. And it's also felt like I haven't actually been doing huge volumes, but I've been quite specific in the training and that I've been doing. So if it's a slower run, making sure you're not over pacing yourself in the slower runs. If it's a tempo run, doing it in those zones and really working with those zones. I guess the way it panned out on the ultra, I guess that has worked, being a bit focused on those sessions. So yeah, I think that's what has worked at the moment for me. So hopefully that keeps up.
Nice. You did. We did do a bunch of hills, but you also did some flat running as well. What was your favourite or sort of key session for you in the lead-in?
Yeah, it's a good question. So again, because of in the past, I haven't done a lot of, whenever I've done flat running, that's where my injuries have come from. I've definitely avoided that and preferred the hills, and I prefer the hills anyway. But certainly through this, because of the distance and actually getting out and doing some 2 or 3 4-hour runs on the flat, and getting through it injury-free, pain-free, has been really revelationary for me. And I found some really cool runs in Christchurch where you can run, through the city, through Hagley, through all the past the new stadium, down the river, and it's really cool. It's a neat run. You hardly go over any roads, and you can do 45k out to the beach and back, and it's almost like being out in the country. So that's been really cool. I've really enjoyed that, and want to keep that up. But yeah, I certainly enjoy getting out in the Port Hills, and I'm fortunate that I work just under the Port Hills, so it's easy for me to pop up there after work and all year round. Yeah. Perfect.
Good job. So you were feeling good, ready to roll. You got across to the coast sort of early. You did a bit of work over there, so you didn't have to dash late. And then everything was going to plan, wasn't it? Tell us about sort of the night before.
Yeah, so it was pretty wet. The weather was pretty rugged on the Friday. Certainly, it sort of gusted, the pre-race briefing, the gusting up sort of 90, 100k, and the rain was certainly there. Sort of was in my hotel room, did a bit of work, and then thought I won't have dinner too early, and then good old West Coast, the lights went out for a bit, which was fine, and then they came back on, and I thought, well, that's fine. And then I potted down to the kitchen, which was closed, and so I thought I'd go for a little drive around the streets and see what I can find. And the whole village was completely black. Nothing was open, and all the lights were out, which is quite unusual to be in a village with no lights, not even street lights. But fortunately, NPD saved the day and had a great, I think it was salt and vinegar chip sandwich, white bread, which was perfect. So really fueled perfectly for the race, exactly what I'd wanted and planned for.
So the pub was closed. The MPD couldn't sell. You didn't have any MPD chicken left. There was no. There's microwavable stuff, but you couldn't have that because you didn't microwave to heat it up. No. So you scan the shelves, and okay, we've only got chips left.
Correct. So that was good.
And the White Death as well. I'm pleased you went for salt and vinegar. I was sort of visualizing that. That's good.
Yeah, no, it was good. So you got to be able to take those roll with it when you're out there. So it's just another thing to deal with.
Nice. I'm visualizing stormy West Coast, heaps of rain, pretty windy. Went to bed that night going, what's this going to be like? What was the morning like, and how did the sort of day start for you?
Yeah, well, to be honest, the forecast looked pretty bad earlier in the week, and it had sort of actually improved a bit, and the weather had come forward, so it did look like it was going to be a little bit wet in the morning. So we're sort of prepared for that, and actually I think it blew through a bit more on the Friday. So I think the weather was actually probably better than what it had been looking, and what it had sort of prepared for, but certainly it wasn't too bad when we headed out there. We had rain jackets on, but it was only at 8 o'clock start, so it wasn't crazy early. It was fairly gentlemanly hours, quarter to 7 on the bus, so no issues there, and just had our rain jackets set off in the rain jackets, but I actually stopped pretty early on and whipped my jacket off, and just accept it wasn't cold. It wasn't cold under the. It's quite mild under the trees. It's quite sheltered. It wasn't like blowing. You weren't up on tops or anything like that. So I whipped the jacket off early and jogged. It got saturated. A few showers and things came through. Certainly could feel it in the limbs and the fingers. Sort of up Cowboys Paradise way, sort of 15, 20k in when you've got a little bit of elevation. That trying to do my shoelace up got a bit hard, but it wasn't too bad. And then you noticed as we came back down the other side through Lake Canary, it warmed up, and you're generally pretty sheltered. You're not really up on a ridgeline or exposed, so it's pretty good. Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. That's good. And a beautiful place to run, the West Coast Wilderness Trail, and bike. Like, it's just a cool track.
Oh, in some ways you want a bit of that weather, heading out when you're off that old Christchurch road, you're heading into the hills and it's all misty and you just sort of see the silhouette of the big hills rising up in front of you, and you're on the trail. It's kind of what you want in some ways anyway. Yeah.
Pretty rugged. How did you pace it? How did you go out? Like, were you out there to go and push hard early, or did you sort of just hang back and with the view of keep running this pace? What was the strategy?
Yeah, obviously 55k is never really gone anywhere near that. So my plan was just run as well as you can for the first 45k, and I hadn't really thought about the last 10k. It was like, that's just psychological, and hopefully you just want to finish strong. So definitely was pace through the first hour or two, and then see how you're feeling and build into it. So I was sort of around the 5:30. I was quite happy to be a little bit slower than that to start with, and that's where the elevation is. So probably that was okay. And so first hour was pretty much just over that, which was perfect. And then I sort of picked it up a bit in the second hour. I was feeling good, and with the weather not being too hot, wasn't really draining too much. So pushed it through to sort of Lake Canary, and was still feeling good, and sort of probably picked it up and felt like I was finished fairly strongly. Certainly picked up a couple of people who had been sort of 400 or 500 meters a K in front of me for a long part of the race. I think I sort of held or managed to pick it up a little bit towards the end, so finished strong. So that was certainly run the whole thing, hold your pace. I felt like I controlled my pace, and was in control of the speed I was going. It wasn't getting dictated by my body, which was cool. I think I finished reasonably comfortably. Yeah.
Good. That's pretty awesome. Like, especially as your debut as well, to be able to pace it in that way. You have to do a good job at your nutrition to be able to achieve that. So what was your strategy there? How did you do that? It's a pacing game and nutrition-a-thon, isn't it? These two things. If you do that well, then you're going to be able to go well. So how did you do your nutrition?
Yeah, look, nutrition's not my strong point. I always struggle, and I've worked hard in my training to get my nutrition right. So I've been using Complan to quite good effect, over both coast and running. It's easy to get on board if your stomach can handle it, and it gets some nutrition in there. It seems to work quite well for me. I do I don't do a very strong blend, a relatively light blend of sort of a litre and a half. And that seems to get some liquid into me, enables me to get some liquid in and some nutrition at the same time. I use M's bars, and I like the block chews as well, and also the salt. The salt sticks are quite good to just to keep those electrolyte things going in you without actually having to consume too much energy. So look, I didn't get too hungry. I didn't get hungry during the race, and I wasn't particularly hungry at the end or in the sort of 24 hours. So I think I got it right. I think my running vest probably isn't great. It doesn't give me great access to food, which probably I need to look at to get better access would make it a bit easier. Always looking at doing different things with food, but doing it in training and then replicating it in the race for sure. Yeah, never do anything new in the race.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like a lot of people would struggle with a Complan milky drink while you're running, but obviously the speed that you're running is such that you can actually take it on board, and you must have a bit of an iron gut to be able to kind of keep that down. But on the other hand, it's great energy, isn't it, to be able to have that there to be able to churn through, and you're not going to get hungry with that on board. So yeah, quite a cool strategy. I like it. You've done well.
Yeah, I had the old white bread sandwich, honey sandwich, but I didn't quite get my picnic blanket out and have that this time. It was a bit cold, so I just carried on running. Yeah. Well,
you had your chip sandwich on board from the night before, so
I had it the sandwich. Night before,
it's good. It's good. You've done well. What were the toughest moments? Were any points that you're like, oh, I'm struggling here? How did you get on?
Yeah, I was expecting more. I guess in terms of ultras, it is probably quite a good one in terms of the hill. As much as you're doing a bit of elevation, it's not super steep. You actually roll through them without really realizing you've done it. There was only one there's only really one hill I can sort of recall sort of thinking, okay, that's more than just a rolling hill, but it wasn't even that. It wasn't particularly big. I think. So I was quite happy that it didn't really. I was waiting for it to really kick and be like, okay, this is getting hard now. The worst bit was thinking it was a 54k race, and it was funny how psychologically once you went through 54k and couldn't see the end, that last 55th k became psychologically really hard. So that was interesting. But no, I didn't have any real points where I was in doubt or I think I felt in control of both pacing and where I was at the whole time. And I actually, clicked through those sort of, I guess the 47, 48k sort of started to think, okay, this is getting a bit harder, but then you sort of click through 50 and you're like, right, you can start visualizing, okay, it's a park run or it's just down the railway tracks. It's, it's the dog walk.
Yeah, and that's good, isn't it? When you put it back to your like normal days, like, oh, I can do the park run, I can do the walk the dog. It's just around the corner here. But when you're getting through 54k and you can't see the finish line, was the bottom lip going out a little bit there?
Yeah, because I'd worked hard. I was at that point. I was worried because I guess what pushed me on was not really the people in front of me. I was expecting this big wave of elite runners to run past me and mow me down and just demoralize me in the later part of the race. So I was always sort of more worried about who was coming up behind me than what was in front of me, and that sort of pushed me through. But we certainly got a big headwind coming into Greymouth or out heading out to the coast right on that 54k mark. So the pace was definitely hard running into that, but then we turned a corner right on the point of Hokitika there and ran along the waterfront there. You could see the end, and it's 400 meters, whatever it was, 500 meters down, and you knew you were there. Then it was all good.
Oh, I can do this now. So I need to show you this one. This is we throw this up there for everybody. Can we throw it up there? Is it going to work? Let's just. Might have had to maybe remove. There it is. Our toasted scale. On the toasted of burnt toast, I'm completely cooked at the finish line through to just number 9, which is just lightly toasted. Where were you on the scale of how good you were looking at the finish line, maybe?
That's a great question. I'm probably about probably a 3 or 3.
Okay.
But I reckon I don't know. I don't think I had much more in me. I don't think I had a lot more in me, but I wasn't totally cooked.
Yeah, okay, good. You weren't burnt. You weren't completely cooked, but you were getting through there. I'd expect a 3. I'd like a 3. Like if it was less than that, I'd be like, maybe you should have done a little bit harder. Maybe that pace strategy was a wee bit soft.
Yeah, I don't think I had a lot. I was happy with the way I went. I don't think if I'd gone harder earlier, I probably would have blown out. Right?
Yeah, so, and then your bits, you were in pieces at the end. Any advice for others? What did you learn as a result of the process, the run, the getting there, the completing it?
I guess just have a plan. Train. Make sure you have a plan when you train. Have a plan, strategy going in there, and make sure you stick to your plan. And I think I had a plan of what I wanted to do, and I stuck to it, and it worked. Obviously, you have to adjust your plan for whatever you face on the day, and it's not always going to go to plan. But having a plan and working through it, and also just being relaxed. Like I was pretty relaxed. Those early Ks were, they're not particularly fast, so. Just be relaxed and enjoy those. And, I don't know, I'm one of those ones who probably says g'day to people as I go past and a bit of a chat, and that's just me. I just enjoy being out there. I'm out there doing it for myself rather than, they're competitors, but I'm not really competing against them. I'm competing against myself, and I'm out there to have a bit of fun as well.
Yeah, good stuff. So, to execute your plan and do you, and then you don't get caught up in doing the pace that you shouldn't be doing. Where did you finish in the end? You did pretty reasonably well, didn't you? Yeah,
I think I was the fourth competitor home, which is unusual for me, but maybe all the rabbits stayed home that day.
It's too rainy. Yeah, just the old dogs out there batting away. The old dogs there. Yeah, good job. That's awesome. Hey, I also want to have a bit of a chat about the Kepler. Just recently, like it was only a few weeks before your ultra, you and the family went down to Te Anau and walked the Kepler Track over, what was that, 3 nights? Was it 4 days?
Yeah, 4 days, 3 nights. We did it so I've got three children, 12, 10 and 8. And I did it with my brother-in-law and his family, and his children are a similar age. So they're all we got two older boys, 2 girls in the middle, and two younger boys. Cool. And so they're all paired up. They've all got their buddy. And we did that around Easter in the last school holidays. So there was 10 of us. And that was awesome. We did do the Able Tasman as a bit of a trial run late last year in the October holidays, and so this was sort of a bit more exposure, a bit tougher. We didn't get the dinner on the last night, didn't get dropped off and with beer and wine or anything, so it was a bit better, bit more of a challenge.
Yes.
And it was awesome. The kids did amazing. And we had a little bit of everything in there, but they did really well.
Yeah. So how was it? Because obviously you can go both ways, can't you? Clockwise or anti-clockwise. Obviously the Kepler Challenge event goes, what's that? Anti-clockwise. So you're up the hill for a start. Is that the same way that you went?
Yeah, that's the same way that we went. I think that's the way they encourage you to go. So we got down there. The first day was good. We sort of walked up to Broad Bay and had our lunch before we started to climb up. Obviously, first day, kids are in high spirits, and us parents were fully laden donkeys heading up the hill. And we got to I was with I had 3 or 4 of the kids with me.
Yeah,
and we were walking, and we thought, we'll get to the sort of 45 minutes before the hut mark, and then we'll wait for the others and have a bit of a rest, and then we'll walk the last hour, because we knew we were sort of at the top of the hill, or had done the worst of the climbing at that point. But we got there, and the kids decided it was time to run, and so they all ran along the top as quick as they could. It took about 20 minutes to do the last hour. So
that's awesome. So they've obviously got littler bags. You've got as much gear as you possibly could carry. Is that sort of how it was working? What were the kids carrying? That's the good question.
Yeah. Look, we've got the kids have got the Mac Pack. I think they're the tallies. So the Mac Pack do a really good kids backpack. So the older ones have the 35-litre version, and the little ones have the 30 version. Look, they take their own sleeping bag, their clothes, their snacks, and their plate and knife and fork. And then we take the food and the cookers and the gas and everything else. So they've got a full bag, but it's pretty light. Won't be long now though. The older two will start to be able to get a bit more of the gear. Will be shifting across over the coming years, and we'll be moving down the bags, and they'll be moving up.
Yeah, that's a good plan. Yeah, so the bags stay the same, just reshuffled amongst it. I like it. And what did you do for food? Because obviously that's a fair bit of food to carry for the family for that length of time over 4 days, 3 nights.
Yeah, it is. We don't necessarily have the lightest food, but it's good food. So we do a big cook up of mince and take a big ice cream container of like proper mince, all cooked, and we just heat that and put some pasta through it on one night. We've done risotto in the past, which is pretty easy. Just do a big cook up for everybody of risotto. We had a freeze dry meal for the last night. What else? Yeah, I can't remember. I think sort of that. Yeah, we just sort of get some sort of meat or bacon or something and put in with a risotto and freeze dried veg and make a bit of a meal out of it for the kids. It's pretty straightforward, and then do a pre-mixed porridge with lots of fruit and extra bits and pieces in it to make it a bit more interesting. Yeah, so. It's good. It's a fair bit of food for 10 people for 4 days.
Yeah, it is. And what about lunches? Because that's, again, a little bit challenging over 4 days. By the time you get to the fourth, was it like Peter Pockets or what were you doing for that?
Yeah, lunch is a bit challenging. We took some noodles, but we didn't end up having them. Or did we? Yeah, we did actually have them on the last day. Cooked up some 2-minute noodles, but yeah, just wraps, salami, ham, cheese, take a good sandwich on the first day, and then sort of wraps for a couple of days and some noodles in there. Just have a bit of a boil up on the side of the track.
Yep, good job. And what advice would you give to other parents looking to go tramping and getting the kids outdoors sort of overnight, etc.?
It works really, really well for us having the cousins with them. And they all just get on and they're singing and they're chatting and, they're all paired up. So I think definitely going with another family with similar age kids and similar experiences, we didn't have any complaints. We had some pretty rough weather on the second day, which is where the most exposure is, and it's actually still quite a bit of climbing along the top from before you get down on the other side there. We had a bit of sleet, but the kids, they carried on. There was never any doubt about them walking or any resistance, and they just had fun and made up games. So having like-minded people, picking who you go with, and having other kids will help them get through for sure.
Yeah, because they don't want to be seen to sort of not being able to cope, but also they're taking their mind off what they're actually doing because they're just kind of out there doing it together, which is pretty fun, isn't it? So what's next, I guess, in the family adventures and then also your own challenges ahead? What's coming up? Yeah,
we're always looking for new family trips. So we try to do with the cousins sort of a big hike, not necessarily a great walk, but a good 2 or 3 day hike. So sort of planning that one for either later this year or early next year. Maybe the Stewart Island, Rakiura,
cool.
could be one. or the Milford, which actually is probably a bit shorter than the Kepler, but is obviously would be quite a good one to do with the kids. But yeah, we're lucky we've got so many good opportunities around here. So yeah, always trying to get the kids into the outdoors. We live in the city, so pretty important to try to give them that opportunity and experience to be out in tents and huts and having fun.
Yeah, figuring that out. And what about yourself? What's on the cards for you now that your ultra's ticked off at the start of winter?
Yeah, look, quite enjoy the running in terms of it's so easy. There's no logistics. There's no transitions. The gear is a pair of shoes and shorts. It's pretty easy. You can go and just sort yourself out and do it without having to drag anyone else into it. So probably try and look at doing some other events just really to have some reason to train and keep your fitness up. I think there's a winter series. We might try and do one or two of those locally here out in the hills. Just gets you out and with some friends doing the Heights of Winter with a mate in a weekend, a couple of weekends time, which again is just a bit of fun, bit of navigation. Hopefully we don't get too lost. A bit of a run in the hills, and then obviously got coast next year again, so back on the start line, which looking forward to that.
Yeah, good job. So lots to look forward to. That's awesome. Hey, thank you so much for joining us, Dave. Thanks for sharing. Well done on that chip sandwich the night before, figuring it out and getting across the finish line so well, but also well done for getting the family out and having those real life memories, those adventures together. That's super cool.
All right. Cheers, Rich, and thanks. I think all the training and effort you've put into me over quite a while now.
It's good.
Started to come together.
Yeah, absolutely. Nailing it. All right, we've got lots to look forward to.